Greetings, everybody. Sorry about the delay in starting. My name is Nosana Sondiyazi, pronouns she, her, they, them. I'm the advocacy officer here at Nosana Sondiyazi. Have any of you guys been to any of our sensitizations before? Not yet. Oh, okay. Well, we were robbed of something, we were robbed to kind of showcase our skills, the things we do. We don't just care if you are a member of the LGBTI. We care for your health, we care for your physical health, your mental health. And it is a pleasure and an honor to be invited again back today to talk sex, to talk gender, to talk sexual orientation. And if you haven't signed our attendance register, please do. And at the back, where it says IEC material, the last thing, we are going to be giving you these. Transgender privilege, cisgender privilege, PrEP, all of this stuff, our services. So please ensure you get this information from us. And we certainly hope that Gopsi Health offers the same services as well. But because I don't know how much you know yet, I'm not going to just roll off and start talking, this is sex, this is gender. I'd like us to quickly, please, do a survey in the form of a show of hands. And please don't be embarrassed. I'm hoping a safe space was created earlier. Was a safe space created earlier?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right? We all feel safe?
Yeah.
Right? So in other words, when we put up our hand in what we know and what we understand, you're not going to be embarrassed by this is what I think a transgender is, right? So that we just have an idea, because we're going to do this before and after. These are just 10 very short questions, right? So let's just get straight to it, to question 1. What is transgender? Right? I'm going to read all the answers. Transgender person is a man that acts like a woman that acts like a man, a person not identifying as the sex they were assigned at birth. First one? Second one? Third one?
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. So you guys should be teaching me a thing or two. What is androgynous? A unisex person. An alien, an atheist, a genius. Which one? You can maybe shout out the answer. A unisex person. Okay. What is gender identity? What your brain tells you you are, what your body tells you you are, what your genitals tell you you are. Huh? What your brain tells you. Are there some differences in opinion here? Brain, body, genitals, body, genitals. Okay, this one is causing conversation. Good, thank you. All right. What is your sexuality? The sex you are attracted to. Your sexual orientation. Who you have sex with? Or who you having sex with? All of this. Okay. If you are cisgender, you are normal. Brain and body aligned. Abnormal. Abnormal. All right. Find people here. All right. Any other answers? Abnormal cisgender. This is very fun and exciting. What is a cross-dresser? A drag artist? A man that dresses like a woman that dresses like a man, or the above? Drag artists, okay. What is LGBT community? I don't know, the queer community. Everybody knows. What are we? Amorphic is a gay person, a man that acts like a woman, an offensive word. Anal sex is sodomy, for men only, for gay men only, for men and women. Today, we are talking sex, gender, sexuality. And for us, it's so important to just lay down that foundation before we go straight into the terminology of what is a lesbian, what is a transgender person. Because if you look at the LGBTI acronym, We've got all of these things there. We've got sexual orientation, we've got gender, right? We've got it all. But sometimes we feel a bit frustrated when we ask all these three questions. If I'm asked my sex and then I'm asked my gender and then I'm asked my sexual orientation, maybe I might get frustrated and think that you're asking me the same question, right? But it's not the same question, right? Which is why in the attendance registers that hopefully you've all filled in, that you kind of noticed that we were being quite specific about that. So your sex is your physical body, how you were born, what you were assigned at birth, right? It is your gonads, it is your ovaries, right? It is what's in your panties, it's your breasts. If anybody saw me before, they'll see that I have no more breasts, right? It is your body, it is your physical. Most of the time, a form that is asking us personal information asks us your sex. And then you have to say, even if you're transgender, what you were assigned at birth, because they're asking you something physical. But now your gender is a different thing, right? It's asking you how you feel, how you think. And that is where there can be a difference, right? So if you are talking about your gender, you can decide. It's not a forced thing that like what you were born as, right? And that's why people can be gender fluid. That's why people can be cisgender and transgender. Because we are running away from the word normal. Because if you are transgender, you are normal. So this word cisgender, please don't ask me the history of where it came from, where the word cis comes from, because I'm thinking, where did they come up with the word? The most important thing is the word cisgender is the opposite of transgender, and it's your gender. So whether you are a gay man who is masculine, that is attracted to men, you can still be cisgender. So we mustn't confuse the word cisgender with heterosexual, because that is your sexual orientation again, right? So that's cisgender, that's sex, that's gender. Intersex, we squeeze it in between, because an intersex person is still, we are still referring to somebody's sex. It is the third sex. It's the sex that's unspoken about. It's the hidden sex, right? Parents give birth to an intersex child, and there's a hush in the hospital room if that intersex child is displaying visibly ambiguous genitalia, right? And then they don't celebrate. And that is where the first trauma begins for the parents, hiding the child, you know? But we are here, we are intersex. We are sometimes born, our genitalia looking like, okay, that's a boy, little small penis there. Oh, that's a girl, but large, the clitoris. Yeah. Well, no, let's assign a sex. And then we were happy, right? We were like, well, I'm raising this little girl, and then puberty hits. Oh my gosh, the puberty doesn't align. Ne? The boy is menstruating. The girl is growing a beard. The voice breaks. Oh my gosh. What decision did we make? Did we make the right decision? And even before puberty, the parents are sometimes influenced to kind of like fiddle and cut and, surgery, which now advocacy and human rights for LGBT and especially intersex children, we are saying that we must wait. Unless it's something really life-threatening for the baby, that maybe the child maybe can't urinate, like something serious. Because they are very healthy intersex organs that do everything that needs to be done, right? They penetrate, they get penetrated, all of these things. Ne? And intersex people, they have breasts, they've got penises, or sometimes it's just the chromosomes. Ne? And then the chromosomes, we don't see anything. Even if we're having sex with them, we still don't see anything. But when they measure, the doctors, they'll be like, okay, some chromosomes are a bit higher. Like I think what happened with Caster Semenya, you know, and others, right? So that is intersex. It's so important that we understand that intersex sex to be normal and not to be life-threatening, not to be dangerous, not to be shameful. And then the most exciting thing we're going to talk about today is the sexual orientation part and how varied it is, all right? Okay, the sexual orientation is who you're having sex with, who you're attracted to, who you are romantic with, who you want to date. It's not the actual what you do in bed. It's not the styles and the positions, it's not the Kama Sutra, it's just the other stuff, right? Okay. Intersex has been broken down. And then, let's go to the toilets, right? Before we describe all the LGBTI, we've highlighted what cisgender is, right? That if you agree with your body, whatever sex you were assigned at birth, and your brain says, no, this is my penis, definitely, I'm a guy, then you are cisgender. Doesn't matter who else you're dating. But if you are fluid, now you're not transgender, if you are gender fluid. It maybe means you just change your mind, you know? And you change your mind with how you express yourself, with your clothes, with your makeup, with your voice, with identifying your pronouns, with changing them. Hey girl, hey bro. You know, but weren't you bro yesterday? Hey. Right? So the word that we don't ever want to use is confused. That's an offensive word. It's as offensive as normal, right? Because you can be fluid, you know? So what I usually do is we're having maybe a conference like this and we're all afforded opportunity to put our names in front of ourselves. I always use a permanent marker. So you're not changing your gender in between this session, you know? Like, hey, you were he, him, all day just for this hour, right? But that fluidity, it fluctuates and people can express themselves differently every day. And that's where the cross-dressers come in, that's where the drag artists come in. And this is not a transgender person, necessarily. Because like sometimes, I know this drag artist who's got kids, right? And he's a man. And he can be gay when he wants to, and when obviously he's performing his feminine persona, the diva, he's that. So the story is, after one of his gigs, you know, somebody says, hey, you're cute, let's go to my room, right? And then the hotel staff, they're like, hey, some sex work's happening here, you know, let's get these people arrested, right? So the security at the hospital decide, okay, let's wait for them to catch them. And then when they knock on the door, like, hey, 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 what you doing here? No sex work allowed. He transformed, he was a man, he opened the door. Hey, and he was telling us how that worked for him, because now when he's naked, like the clothes, the makeup, and all the stuff is gone. And then pansexual, what is it? Maybe I shouldn't say it. Let me somebody tell me what pansexual is. Yes, what is it? Yes.
I personally think being asexual is actually attracted to someone due to his nighttime time. You actually just find them amazing. You don't actually choose whether it's a girl or a boy. So guys, you find that character and personality amazing. You become attracted to them.
That's true. Did everybody hear that?
Yes.
If you're open, you know, you don't care what's in the underwear, you don't care who they dated before, you just met them, you will definitely. And also, sexually fluid means the same thing as pansexual, right? Asexual is the new hidden sexuality, I think. Because we're so embarrassed to be asexual, I think. Somebody needs to step in through the door. I'm standing here, I'm attracted to men. This hot guy comes in, I'm like, my first thing, I'm supposed to go like, I'd sleep with you. Like, why should that be how we live these days? Why should it be that I'm supposed to instantly know that I would have sex with you or not, before you even talk? You know? Before you even show your kindness, your sensitivity, right? So, an asexual person is somebody that's not interested in immediately having sex with you. But that doesn't mean they're not aromantic. Because they'll date you, they'll say it's locked in the panties, I love you, you know? Let's fall in love, you know? And let's not pressurize asexual people, you know? Let's not say, prove it, maybe you'll like it. Because if you're in this room and you're a member of the LGBTI and a heterosexual person has said to you, how sure are you you're gay? Maybe if you have sex with me, You could change, you know? It's the same pressure we mustn't give to an asexual person, right? It's very important. And then let's subcategorize asexuality. Maybe that person just was not saying the things that make sense to you, but things that inspire you to kind of, oh, I'm flattering now, you're so intelligent, you know? The sapiosexuals really, you know, you just haven't had a good, honest conversation with somebody, go like, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. And most of the time, this person isn't even talking about sex. They're talking about science. They're talking about something. But you find them so attractive, all of a sudden, maybe I'll have sex. And then, the demisexual person is something that I think we all are. Of course you need to trust somebody. Of course you need to feel safe before you have sex, you know? So some people do that. They say, I'm asexual, but then one of these two things happen. Ne? And then there's a change, right? The transgender house, the big trans umbrella. I think we are too focused on a transgender person is a person who's assigned a particular sex at birth and lives as the other. And then we end the conversation there. And we have not fully started describing a transgender person. Because what's the transgender person's sexual orientation? Where they may be intersex, are they bisexual? There are sometimes transgender people who are surprising us. We're like, oh, but you're a trans woman. What, you're dating a trans man? Oh, but you're a trans woman. Oh, you're lesbian? And now we all want to be surprised about these things. You right? And that's not fair, right? Because even there, where you are gender non-conforming, you are under the transgender umbrella. Because you're gender non-conforming for a variety of reasons. Maybe you don't want to disclose you're intersex. Maybe you don't want to fully have the pressure of being a fabulous, glorious transgender person who is all over with the, you know, the look, you know. Maybe you want to stay androgynous on the unisex line. People are like, what do you see? How do you see me? You know? So it's large, right? So let's not force ourselves to kind of like expect to see a transgender person expressing their transgenderness in a particular way. Expect a transgender person to be dating who we think will be the opposite of how they present themselves. Do you know what I mean? And let's not expect a transgender person to be a fabulous over-the-top queen.
Yes.
You know? A transgender person can be a shy somebody who's hiding, right? And this is the history of some of the words that we've been using to describe transgender people. And the one that I want to highlight the most here is that a trans person can be a transgender person pre-surgery, post-surgery, or no surgery. Because what we were struggling with is that now we expect, if your person is openly, proudly transgender, that you're like, oh, what have you had done? That's the immediate thing. You know? Oh, what are you on? Oh, you know? And that's not fair. Oh, have you changed your ID? Like, we're asking all these things to somebody who's just socially just telling us that they're trans, right? So, yes, somebody was asking me, what is the difference between gender non-conforming and non-binary? These are, even later, there'll be more words that just mean sometimes the same thing. Is there any word here, I don't need to go through all of them, that anyone needs clarified? Huh? Which one? Third, are you saying something? Third gender. Oh, you know, some of these things don't have a specific description, but maybe you don't want to call yourself intersex. Maybe you don't want to call yourself non-binary. I know there are some countries in the world, because the word other, we've all decided we don't want it, didn't we? Yeah. There was male, there was female, there was other. And then like, what did the other mean? So then sometimes they put in third, you know, and that third could be either your gender or your sex or your sexual orientation. So it's so confusing, right? But I love how the transgender umbrella holds all of us here. Because within all of this, we could be asexual. Within all of this, all the other things could be happening, right? And questioning. Oh, I love questioning. I wish you guys would have asked a question on that. Questioning is somebody who we must not be calling confused, because we are also pressurizing somebody who's still questioning. You haven't decided, right? You're not asexual yet. You're not anything yet. You can question until you die, you know? And then the man on his deathbed is like, are you still questioning? Yes. Right? Let's let the questioning continue to question, right? Okay. The gender expression we talked about. And this is where you can be any of the LGBTI to gender express. If you are a even heterosexual cisgender person, you are expressing your gender. But I am female, so expressor. But with us in the LGBTI, we sometimes reinforce the gender that we want you to see. So if I've got breasts, ne, and then you want to call me ma'am, I'll gender express by providing you my pronoun. I'm he. Ne? I would gender express by makeup, you know. But now the gender expression, you guys are all smart in here. I know gay men that have a beard, that are not trans women, that are dolling it up with the makeup. What gender are they expressing there? What is it? You guys know? But for me, maybe we must not name the gender, but they can still express it. Yes. Right? So gender expression mustn't be asked, so what are you expressing? Can you not see? I'm finished expressing. So that's very important because our cisgender gay men who are expressing their gender with the makeup, ne? We must not be confused and go like, oh, so you're trans. I see you wearing makeup. Even the boys in heels, you guys know the boys in heels, right? Lebu Molax, I don't know him to be a trans woman, but he's definitely expressing the heels, you right? So like, yeah, so this is the thing. The main thing that I would like us to dialogue about today, please let me not do all the talking, right? Is that I feel perhaps you're in this room, you're first year. How many first years are in the room? Whoa! What? So many smart first years. All right, hello first years. Welcome. I also went to this university many moons ago. The dialogue that I'd like us to have is like, how do we think we need to express and behave when we really understand ourselves to be lesbian or gay? Do you know? Are there any pressures out there? Is there somebody out there saying, oh, but you don't have to be too gay? Oh, but you can't be gay. You're not gay enough to be gay if you are looking so cisgender, you know? So for me, this is actually where the dialogue starts, hey? About how hard are we being on each other? What are we saying to each other about what does it mean to be lesbian or gay? You know? Because now you'll be lesbian and then you fall in love with a trans woman. And then they'll be like, oh, no, us lesbians don't do that. We have to be in love with a cisgender woman. You know what I mean? So let's really check what we're doing here with being lesbian and being gay, and let's not box ourselves and let's not reject each other when it comes to what we end up doing, and let's not like go like, oh, but now I can't be lesbian anymore because look what I've just done, you know? You know, oh my gosh, no, I can't be lesbian anymore because, you know, for whatever it could be. So let's talk about that. What's going on around that? Please, let's chat. Yes.